Good morning to one and all. Have a nice day. And we are going to see the introduction and architecture of 8085 microprocessor in this session. Okay, so in this session or in the series of videos, what we are going to discuss means the first thing we are going to discuss on the introduction to microprocessor. Okay, here we are going to discuss on the 8085 microprocessor. The second thing we are going to discuss about the architecture of 8085. Okay, then we are going to discuss the pin configuration of the microprocessor. Next we are going to discuss the various addressing mode of 8085 microprocessor. Then we are going to discuss on the instruction set. What are the instructions available in detail one by one. Then we are going to discuss on the timing diagram. Timing diagram is nothing but how much time or how much cycle a instruction will take to process in the 8085 microprocessor. Then we are going to discuss on the 8051 microcontroller. Okay, then we will review all this thing. So this is a series of videos which consist of 9 to 10 videos. Okay, the main objective of this video when compared to the other YouTube videos, this video especially designed for the mechanical engineering students. Okay, normally mechanical engineering student felt little difficult in understanding the electronic concept, but in Anna University there is a subject called as mechatronics. In that unit 2 there is 8085 processor. So the entire thing, entire PPT, entire session will be focused on the mechanical engineering students, how the students understood the things. Okay, what we have to tell like that. And while explaining, some of the concept may not be exactly matching, but in order to visualize the actual scenario, some examples will be given. Okay, that example may not be exactly matching, but for visualization for mechanical engineering student, few examples given in the session also. Okay, so it is especially meant for the mechanical engineering students. Okay. And next thing, first we will discuss what is microprocessor, what is microcontroller. Okay, so this is the, normally we heard this word microprocessor, microcontroller, and we may feel that it is not relevant to us. Okay, but now you have to know the difference between these two. Okay, that we will discuss. Okay, first I am taking the physical structure of the both. Okay, if you take the physical structure, the microprocessor and the microcontroller seems to be the same. Okay, both the processor, both the controller available in rectangular shape and also in square shape. Okay, normally the processors are available in rectangular and square shape only. The controller also available in the rectangular and square shape. The size also the same. Number of pins also the same. Processor also having 40 pins. Controller also having 40 pins. So by seeing itself, it is very difficult to identify whether it is a processor or controller, unless if you see the number represented or engraved on the processor, then only it is possible to identify it. Okay. Next, the size remain the same, and number of pins also, the maximum number of pins is 40, and both the processor having 40, controller also having the 40 pins. Okay, if you take the application, the processor also used for the real-time industrial applications. The controller also used for the real-time industrial applications. Okay, if you take washing machine, there is a controller that will control the entire process. If you take a automatic camera, there is a controller that will do all the process. Okay, so controller also used in the real-time applications, and the processor also we are using in the real-time application like CNC machines or some PLCs like that. We are using the processor. So both the things are used for the real-time applications. Okay. The working also more or less same. Both are having the same, more or less the architecture is same. Okay, number of pins and other things. Then, what is the difference between the microprocessor and microcontroller? Yes, The first thing is the RAM. Microprocessor having a external RAM only. Microprocessor doesn't have the internal RAM. Okay, to remember this, assume a computer. The microprocessor having the external RAM in it. Okay, but if you take a microcontroller, that is a washing machine or some watches or some high-end cameras, that is having inbuilt RAM in it. Okay, in the washing machine there is many options like fuzzy or speed or tub cleaning, like that. Okay, each and everything stored in a memory that is inside the processor, that is inside the controller itself. So that is the first difference. Okay, microcontroller having a inbuilt RAM in it, but microprocessor need a external RAM. Okay, second thing, the microcontroller having a limited capacity of the RAM. But microcontroller, we can have 2 GB, 4 GB, 16 GB, 32 GB RAM, like that. Okay, so that is the difference between the RAM in the microcontroller and microprocessor. Next thing, application wise. Okay, if you take application wise, the processor is like a black box. Whatever you are giving, it will process and give the output. So microprocessor can be used to control any device. At any time we can use it by changing the program. We can use one processor here. The same processor can be used for some other application also. Okay, but controller we cannot use like that. Once if the controller is designed for a specific application, that controller will be used only for that application. Okay, the controller designed for the washing machine cannot be used for the camera, and the controller designed for the washing machine cannot be used for the refrigerator or for the air conditioner. Okay, for example, in the washing machine they will design such that for pin number 5 is meant for the tub cleaning. Okay, if you use the same controller in the air conditioner, the pin 5 may be for setting the temperature of 24 degrees. Okay, so the same thing cannot be used for the different application. But processor is not like that. A processor can be used anywhere, whatever the application it may be, wherever required. Okay, the same processor can be used to control a washing machine. The same processor can be used to do some arithmetic and logic operations. Okay, so that is the difference between the processor and the controller. Processor is the high capacity, controller is the low capacity device. Okay, example, if you take a microprocessor, the examples are the computers, PLC, program logical controller. So these are the examples of the processor. Okay, if you take a microcontroller, examples are the latest keyboards, mouse, washing machines, digital cameras, pen drives, remote controls, microwaves, even the car, bike, telephone, mobiles are using microprocessor only. Okay, fine. So these are the micro examples of microcontroller. Okay, and another difference, the clock speed. The speed of the processor is very, very, very high. The speed of the controller is very, very low comparatively. Okay, because the processor having lots, thousands of transistor in it, but the controller is not having that much transistor. For example, if you take 8085 microprocessor, it is having only 62,000 transistors approximately. But if you take the latest processor, there is thousands and thousands of transistors inbuilt in it. Okay, fine. And what is the definition? Whatever the subject it may be, definitely we need one definition. What is the definition? Okay, microcontroller is a chip optimized to control a specific electronic device or specific operation. For example, washing machine. If the microcontroller designed for the washing machine, it will control only the operations of the washing machine. If the microcontroller designed for AC, it will control only the air conditioner. Okay. It is stored in a single integrated circuit which is dedicated to perform a particular task and execute once the specific applications. Okay, it is specially designed for automated controlling of the electronic devices. Okay, it contains memory in it. It is having the peripheral control. Suppose if it needs some drivers, the drivers also inside the processor itself, driver programs also embedded in it. Okay, example, washing machine, air conditioner, refrigerators, microwave ovens, etc. Okay, if you take microprocessor, it is a controlling unit of a microcomputer. That is, a computer is called as the microprocessor. Okay, it performs the arithmetic operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, increment, decrement. Also, it performs the logical operation like AND, OR, NOR, XOR, like that. And also, it will communicate with the other devices connected to it. The device can be a machine, device can be a light, or device can be another computer, or it can be a wireless computer like the internet or some other things. Okay, it is the single integrated circuit in which several functions are combined together. Okay, example, computer what we are using, laptop what we are using, the latest Android mobile phones we are having the ARM processor. Okay, tab we are using, that is having the processor, the programmable logical controller having the processor, CNC machine having the processor in it. Okay, so the processor we are using enormous ways. Okay, wherever we require more control of devices, we are going with the processor. Wherever only there is limited operation, only there is predefined operation, then you have to go with the controller, because the processor is a little bit costlier, the controller is a little bit less costlier. Okay, so if you are having only 3 or 4 operations, or maximum of 10 or 15 operations, or within less than 30 operations, we can say, okay, we can go with the controller. Okay, it will do all those things. But if there is more than 30 operations, or if there is unexpected things are happening, then we have to go only with the processor. Or any process required any calculation part, then you have to go with the processor. Okay, so this is the difference between the microcontroller and microprocessor. Now we will see the microprocessor. Here I am going to discuss on the 8085 microprocessor. Okay, 8085 is the code number given for that processor. Okay, now this is the simple structure of a microprocessor. It can be a rectangular type, or it can be a square type also. Okay, this processor, it was introduced in 1976. Okay, it is a 8-bit processor. Okay, 8-bit, only 8 binary digits. 8-bit is equal to 1 byte. Okay, now we are working with gigabytes and megabytes. Even the internet speed is in megabytes and gigabytes. But you see, there is at the time they are having only 8-bit operations. Okay, 8-bit data only processed by this processor. Okay, its actual name can be 8085A. It is at the time they introduced different types of the processor. Okay, that we will discuss later. And it is a single NMOS device. It contains approximately 62,000 transistors in it. Okay, this combination of the transistor only perform different operations. Okay, now the dimension, if you take, it is 164 mm, that is approximately 16.5 centimeter. Okay, if you take a small size scale, the processor is equivalent to that size only. Okay, and it is a 222 mm all width. Okay, next thing, it is having 40 pins. 40 pin means here you can see the pins on the side. One side there is 20 pin, another side there is 20 pin. Each and every pin having a specific operation or specific task to do. Okay, some of the pin are read pin, we can give input, some of the pin the processor will give the output, like that. We will see each and everything in the pin configuration. Okay, next, these are the different types of 8085 microprocessor. It is the A type, AH type, AH2, AH1, like that. It depends upon the speed and some specification it will change. Okay, normally 8085 processor, more or less the structure, architecture and pin configuration are the same. Okay, next thing, multiplexed address. What it means? Multiplex means you, for example, the simple multiplex cinema theaters. If you take multiplex cinema theater, it is a single building. Inside that there is cinema halls, there is food malls, there is shopping centers, okay, there is entertainment areas, game zones, etc. Okay, that is in the single mall. If you are having n number of applications, then we call it as a multiplex complex. Okay, that is single building having n number of operations. Similarly, in the processor there is some pins which can act as a multiplex pin. That is, the same pin will transfer the address of the data and the same pin will transfer the data also. So the same pin used to transfer the address and used to transfer the data. So we are calling it as a multiplexing. Okay, next thing, this processor operates under 5 volt. Okay, if you give more than 5 volt, the processor will burn off. So it requires 5 volt to operation for operations. Okay, and the maximum clock frequency is 3 megahertz, while the minimum frequency is 500 kilohertz. Now in the iCore processor and all, the speed is enormous. Okay, but it is having the 3 megahertz speed only. Okay, it is enough. You know, as a mechanical engineer, you know this thing, it is more than sufficient. A microprocessor is a controlling unit of a microcomputer wrapped inside a small chip. It performs the arithmetic logical operation and communication with the device connected to it. It is the definition for a microprocessor. Okay, next thing, this is the architecture of a microprocessor 8085. Okay, we will discuss on the things one by one. Before going to discuss the things one by one, I am going to explain what are there in this processor. Okay, okay. Now, here we are going to segment it in some different formats for explanation purpose. So this area is called as the registers. Okay, this is called as the registers. This is also the register. Here also the registers. So this segment, this three things we are going to discuss in a session. Okay, what is register? How to store the data? What is the purpose of the register? What is the necessity of that register? What is the importance? Everything we are going to discuss. Okay, on the next session we are going to discuss only on this interrupt signal. Interrupt means interrupting the processor by giving the end task or by simply closing the lid of the laptop. By doing so, we are interrupting the processor. Okay, that there is some 5 or 6 commands are there, that we are, our pins are there, that we are going to discuss in a day. Okay, on the next session we are going to discuss on the timing and control signals. Here there is a read signal, write signal, like that lot of things are status signal. Okay, so these pins are used to know the status of the processor or the operation to be performed by the processor, that we are going to discuss in a session. Okay, next we are going to discuss on the bus. What is meant by bus? How the bus transfer the data? What is the multiplexing in the bus? Okay, what is control bus? What is data bus? What is address bus? That we are going to discuss in a session. Then in the last session we are going to discuss what is the instruction decoder. What is serial input, serial output. Okay, this is the roadmap of this session. Okay, so these are the various components. That is what I discussed so far. Okay, first you have to, as a mechanical engineer, we have to know what is register, what is RAM. Okay, in our point of view, as a mechanical engineers, this both are seems to be the same. Okay, for example, if you take the RAM, Both are the normally memory is divided into two categories. One is long term memory, another is short term memory. Okay, long term memory means USB disk or hard disk or pen drives. This and all called as long term memory. EPROM, read only memory. Okay, this and all called as the long term memory, where the data stored for the long time. Even if you switch off the system, even if you plug out the power, the data in the hard disk remain the same. After you switch it on, that same data you can retrieve it. That is what we called as long term memory. And second thing is called as the temporary memory. Temporary memory means if the power is there, the data is there in the memory. If you switch off the power or if you shut down the system, the data vanishes. Okay, next if you boot the system, you cannot retrieve the data. So that is what we called as temporary memory. Okay, in the processor or in the computer, temporary memory means mainly the RAM and registers. Okay, RAM, there is a thing like that in the diagram. You can see this is what we called as RAM. This you can see it in your systems. Okay, it may be a 16 GB RAM or 4 GB RAM like that. Okay, next register, you cannot see this thing by visual thing. It is inside the processor. Okay, so it is a temporary memory. If the power is there, it will hold the data. If power is not there, it will not hold the data. Okay. Next, how to specify a computer? Okay, okay. Here, what we want to discuss here means this thing, the cache memory or the register. This 128 is the memory capacity of the registers. Okay. Okay, now we see the difference between the RAM and register. Why I am here discussing about the difference between the RAM and register means because as a mechanical engineer, we know what is RAM something. Okay, by remembering, by visualizing the RAM in our mind, if you study the register, it is easy for you to recollect the things. So that only I am discussing the difference between the RAM and the register. Okay, first, the function of the RAM and register are the same. It is used to hold the temporary data. Okay. Next thing, RAM stores the temporary data. Similarly, register also store the temporary data. Okay. The RAM disseminate the data whenever required to whoever required. Okay, similarly, the register also disseminate the data. But the difference here is the RAM will give data to the processor, to the monitor, to the hard disk, or to any output devices, printers, or any other thing. Okay, so from the RAM we can extract the data from any peripheral devices, okay, connected to it, but register will disseminate its data only to the processor. Okay, and it will disseminate the data to the RAM only. The user cannot access the register directly. We cannot give any instruction directly to the register. We have to give to the RAM. From the RAM only processor will transfer the data to the register. Okay, so that is the difference, main difference. The RAM, anybody can access, any user can read the data, any peripheral device can read the data from the RAM. But the register, only microprocessor will access the register. User or any other peripheral device will not able to access the registers. Okay, so that is the main difference. Okay. Once the process is over, okay, the RAM will remove the data from its memory. Similarly, once the process is over, the register also throw away the data from its memory. Okay. The RAM can hold the large amount of data, 1 GB data or 4 GB data or 16 GB data or 32 GB data, 64 GB data, like that. RAM can hold any amount of data. Even in your mobile phone, you can see, you can open n number of applications on the background. Okay, still it is working. Similarly, in the computer, you can open any application like MS Office, or you can open Creo software, SolidWorks softwares, and you can open the Photoshop, whatever it may be, it is working because of the RAM size. Okay, but in the processor it is not like that. The size of the register is limited. One register can hold only 8-bit data. 8-bit means 8 binary numbers. Okay, how many register are there in 8085 means only 6 register. 6 into 8, 40 bits can be stored in the register. But in the RAM you can go up to 64 GB. Okay, okay, fine. So that is the difference. Okay, and now we are going to see on this registers. Now hope you understand what is register, what is RAM. Okay, now we are going to discuss on the register part. So here it is the registers. Okay, don't bother about any other thing. It is just a register. Here what you have to remember means the register names. It is very very important. Okay, the first register is the accumulator register. It is called as A register. Okay, the second register is the flag register. Okay, the third register is the B register. B is the just a alphabetical name given to that register. Okay, for our house and all we are having the door number. Is it correct? The door number and street, other things. If you are going to the college, you are having some ID card. In that ID card, you are having a roll number. Is it correct? Your roll number or register number in Anna University or the Aadhaar number. What is Aadhaar number? It is the address of ourselves. Is it correct? What is the roll number in the ID card? It is the address of a student. Once if you give the roll number, we can take the database of that student. Similarly, the register also having its own ID roll number, or we can say that address. The address is called as, the address name is B. Okay, our house we are having the address of door number 72 or door number 51 like that. Similarly, it is having the address of address B. Okay, similarly another register having the address C, D, E, H and L. This is only the name of the address of that register. Okay, if you know it is more than sufficient. Another two things is the program counter and the stack pointer. Okay, this is also a register, but the operation of the register is little bit differs. Okay, this register, that is this B, C, D, E and L used to hold the datas. Okay, remaining register having different purpose. We will see one by one. Okay, this is the register. That is nothing but the number of boxes is, for example, each box can hold only one binary value, either 1 or 0. Suppose I am writing 1 here. Okay, that's all. That element is finished. Next thing 1, 1, 1 like that we can write it in this space. Okay, maximum in a register you can write or you can store 8 binary digits. That is bits. 8 bits only you can hold it. Okay. So similarly D register 8 and H register 8, E8, C8, L8. A also 8, F also 8. But the program counter having 16 bit and the stack pointer is having 16 bit data in it. Okay, if you know this thing, it is more than sufficient. That's all about the register. I will give one example so that it will be easy for you to recollect and remember it. Okay, okay. Now we are going to see only this registers. Okay. For example, if I want to add two numbers, okay, you open a calculator app or you will write a C program, whatever it may be. Okay, let us assume you are opening a calculator in your computer. Okay, now you are pressing the key 12 and you are pressing the key plus and you are pressing the key 22 and you are giving enter. Okay, even in the fraction of second you will get the answer in the computer screen. But you know what happened behind it? That is what I am going to explain it. Okay, if you press the key 1, immediately what happens, the keyboard, the different types of keyboards are there: capacitive keyboard, inductive keyboard, resistive keyboard, like that. Okay, soft keys or hard keys, some of the key having some spring, mechanical keyboards, etc. are there. Okay, as a mechanical engineer, I am going to explain with a capacitive keyboard. Okay, capacitive means there is some capacitor. If you press each and every key, that key will generate some EMF. The EMF value will be vary for each and every key. key. Okay, for example, if I press 1, okay, immediately the 1 will given to the capacitor, array of capacitor. Inside the keyboard there is array of the capacitor. Assume that it is similar to the breadboard. Okay, in the breadboard there is array of elements are there. Similarly, or array of LEDs. Similarly, there is array of capacitors. N number of capacitor arranged below the each and every key. Okay. If you press 1, that will emit 0.1 volt. For example, let us assume like that. Okay. If you press the key 1, the key 1 will emit 0.1 volt. Okay. That 0.1 volt is given to the controller, keyboard controller. And you are pressing 12 because for 12 we have to press 1 and 2. The 2 is given to the array of the capacitor that will emit, let us assume that will emit some 0.2 volt that is given to the microprocessor controller. Okay, for example, if you press 1 it gives 0.1 volt, if you press 2 it gives 0.2 volt. Let us assume like that. Okay, the controller will accept 0.1 volt and 0.2 volt. In the controller already program was written such a way that if it is 0.1 volt it is the decimal number 1. If you receive the 0.2 volt, it denotes the decimal number 2. So the keyboard controller understands that we are receiving the number 12. What the keyboard controller will do, it will convert the 12 into a binary elements. This is this 00001100 is a binary number for the decimal number 12. Okay, the keyboard controller convert this 12 into a binary digits. Okay, in the olden keyboard will not do those things. In the latest keyboard there is a controller that will do this operation. Then this number is given to the central processing unit or the CPU. Okay, so if you press 12, that will be converted into voltage. The voltage is given to the controller. Controller converts into a binary number. That binary number is given to the CPU. This and all happened within fraction of seconds. Okay, in the CPU, that number moves directly to the RAM. Okay, random access memory. Okay, in the RAM this number is stored. Then the RAM, what it will do, it will send that number to the registers. The register is B, C, D, E, H and L. It is inside the processor. Again it is a memory element. Okay, so the data whatever we are sending, again it is sent to this RAM. Okay, this data is a 8-bit digits. Is it correct? So it can be held in any of this register. It can be stored in B, C, H and L. That depend upon the situation. The type of the register will be selected. Okay, now let us assume the B register is free. So the data is stored in the B register. As it is only of the length of 8-bit, we can store it in this thing. Okay, next we are giving the 22 number. If you give 22, similarly the capacitive array will generate 0.2 volt, 0.2 volt. This will be given to the controller. The controller consider 0.2 volt and it knows that it is the number 22. Again it will give a decimal value for that number 22. This digit 000101110 is the decimal number, binary number of the decimal value 22. Okay. Again the same is given to the processor CPU, CPU to the RAM, RAM to the register. Here the second register is the D register which is free. So here we are assuming that the data is stored in the D register. So the B and D is stored with the number 12 and 22 in binary mode. Okay, now what happens? Next, this data is given to the processor. Okay, this both the data given to the processor and we are asking the processor to do the addition operation. Similarly, if you press the plus key in the keyboard, it will emit some voltage that will also given to the processor. So the processor knows we have to add this two number and the processor do the arithmetic addition operations. Okay, then that values output is comes from the processor. Again, it is a binary number. If you add 12 plus 22, the answer is 34. Okay, this is the binary value for the decimal number 34. The processor gives the output. Again, this output is stored in the register. Okay, whichever the register. For example, the H register is free here. No data in the H register. So the data is stored in the H register. So B is having the number 12 and D is having the number 22. H is having the number 34. Okay. So this is what happened. Then what happened? This number, that is the data in the H register, comes back to the RAM. Okay, from the RAM, it goes to the binary to decimal converter. It is there in all the computers. Okay, so the number 34 in the binary mode is converted into decimal mode. Okay, in the decimal mode, after this conversion, that is given to the CPU. CPU is connected with a monitor. So in the monitor, it displays 12 plus 32 is, 12 plus 22 is 34. So you can be able to see this thing. Okay, sometimes it may be stored in the hard disk also. That is depend upon the type of operation we are performing. Okay, here we are assuming that we are opening the calculator app in the computer. Okay, that is only display, that will not store any value, even though it is having some memory, but assumed like that. Okay, so the number is displayed. This is what happened if you add two numbers in the keyboard. So this process from the keyboard, the conversion of the generation of the voltage, generation of the EMF to the binary number, binary to the CPU to the RAM to the register to the processor to the register to the RAM to the binary to analog converter or binary to decimal converter. Again it is coming back to the CPU, again it is coming back to the monitor. Okay, so this all the process happens within fraction of seconds. Okay, that is what we called as the processor speed. Okay, each and every operation is called as a cycle. How many cycles happened for adding two number? You just listen. Okay, so that is what we called as the cycle. That is what we called as the speed of the processor. Okay, this many operations carried out for a single addition. Okay, once if it is displayed, the process is over. It will erase all the data in the memory. Okay, normally the data will not be erased in the memory. For visualization, we are assuming that the data is erased. Okay, now if this number, for example, it is a register, it is a 8-bit register. Normally in mechanical side we are start the first number as 1, but in the computer and in electronic side the first digit will be 0. Okay, so they are starting from 0 to 7, so there is 8 bits. If there is a number, this is the conversion of binary to decimal conversion. This and all we studied in our lower classes itself, so I am not going to discuss much on this thing. Okay, next thing, suppose if you want to add 1024 with 4825. Okay, suppose I want to add these two numbers. At the time what happens? Okay, if you convert the 1024 into a binary number, you will get the binary digits more than 8 bits. That is, the number of binary elements is more than 8. Okay, that is approximately, it is 12. Exactly, it is 12. Okay, so at that time what happens? We are having only the 8-bit register. We cannot hold that 12 digit in the 8-bit register. At the time what the processor will do, automatically it will combine the B and C register together. Okay, here you can see the first 8 digits stored in the B register. Okay, the next 4 digit stored in the C register. So this is what we called as combining the registers. Okay, so by combining this B and C register, this number, that is 12-digit number, can be stored. So similarly, we are having 16 bits or 16 binary digits for an operation. Then the microprocessor will combine any two register, BC or DE or HL register together, and it will hold that 16-bit data. Suppose you are having, okay, this is called as register pair. The processor will combine only BC. Okay, the processor will not combine B and D. Similarly, the processor will combine D and E only. The processor will not combine B and D, like that. Okay, so this is what we called as a register pair. Here it is a small mistake. It is BC, DE, H and L. So there is 3 register pairs. Okay, suppose I am having a data more than 16-bit digits. That is the more than 16 binary bits. Then it is not possible to process using this processor. Okay, for example, if you are opening a latest software in Windows 7 or Windows 95 or 98, it will show the error. It is 64-bit operating, 64-bit software. It cannot be run on this version, or it can be run on the Windows. What it means? That is, the 64-bit data cannot be operated by this processor. So that is the logic. Okay, so that the latest software cannot be opened in the lower end software, but lower end software can be opened in higher end system, because if there is a 64 bit, we can use the 8 bit or 16 bit or 24 bit or like that. Okay, so that is the logic of this registers. Based on the register only the system performance depends. Okay, next thing. Suppose let us take a small example, okay, in order to visualize what is registers. I am taking a ProE software and I am drawing a cube, okay. I am stored this cube in the memory. So these are the vertex points for that cube. As we know, as we studied, the cube is generated by the CSG or in the BREP model. Whatever the method it may be, it requires the vertex points, okay. Now I am retrieving the vertex point. Suppose I saved it and the next day I am opening it. Okay. If I am opening it in 8085 processor, what happens? Okay. Let us see one by one. First, these are the coordinate points, vertex points. If there is a cube, we are having 8 vertex points. Each vertex point having x coordinate, y coordinate and z coordinate. Okay. If it is a 8-bit processor, what it will do? It will take this first vertex 0 0 0. Okay, in that vertex it will take the first 0 out and it sent to the processor because it hold only 8-bit data. After sending it to the processor, it will take the second element, second 0, third 0, and then it goes to the second vertex 10 0 0, third vertex 10 10 0. So it will take one by one because it will hold only 8-bit only. After sending to the processor only, it will take the other values. So what happens, if you want to take all this data, it has to perform 32 cycle of operation. It has to read the vertex 1 x coordinate, then vertex 1 y coordinate, then vertex 1 z coordinate. Then it has to go to vertex 2 x, vertex 2 y, vertex 2 z. Like that, it will take 32 cycles to open a cube. Okay, the cycle means it has to take the data, it has to put it in the RAM. From the RAM, it has to go to the register. From the register, it has to go to the processor. So this is the process. Okay. Suppose I am having a latest i-core processor, it is having 64-bit. At the time you see, in a single cycle, it can transfer 64 digits. Okay. So within a cycle or within some few cycles, we can transfer all the data. So more than 8 times the processor is speed. Okay. Now, latest processor the mobile phones are having 128 bits. Here only we are having 8 bits, but in the latest mobile we are having the 128 bit registers. Okay. And computer is having thousands and thousands of registers. Hope you understand what is register. Okay. Again I am repeating, register is a temporary storage element inside the processor. The processor only read the data from the register and processor only give the data back only to the register. User or the peripheral device cannot directly access the register. Okay, the data from the register will be transferred to the RAM, RAM to the memory or to the output device. So this element is called as the register. Okay, hope there will not be any doubts. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can post it in the chat box. I will answer for those things. Okay. Thank you, students. This is my mail ID, skrkhan@gmail.com. You can ask any doubts at any time here. Thank you, one and all. In the next class, we are going to discuss on the other register, what is accumulator, what is flag registers. Okay, with this session 1 completes. Thank you.